The autumn rain pelted against Raphael's bedroom window in their suburban Chicago home, creating rivulets that distorted the streetlights outside. It was 3:47 a.m., and while the rest of the Martinez family slept, Raphael's fingers danced across his keyboard, lines of code reflecting in his tired eyes. "Just one more bug fix," he muttered, reaching for his fourth cup of cold coffee. From down the hall, he could hear his father snoring, the same rhythmic pattern that had soundtracked his childhood. In the morning, there would be another family breakfast, another comparison, another disappointment etched across his father's weathered face. The laptop screen flickered with error messages. Raphael's startup, Cloud Sync Solutions, was hemorrhaging money faster than he could patch the problems. 3 months of runway left. Maybe 4 if he stopped eating anything but ramen. His phone buzzed. A text from his brother Daniel. "Hey bro, just landed in Miami for the regional sales conference. Company's putting me up at the Ritz. How's the computer thing going?" Raphael stared at the message. The computer thing. That's what everyone called it. Not a company. Not a vision. Not 3 years of his life. Just the computer thing. He typed and deleted a dozen responses before settling on, "Going well. Good luck at the conference." The morning came too quickly. Raphael descended the stairs to find his family already gathered around the breakfast table. His mother, Elena, smiled warmly and placed a plate of scrambled eggs in front of him. His father, Miguel, barely glanced up from his newspaper. "Daniel called this morning," Miguel announced, his voice carrying that familiar note of pride. "He closed another big account yesterday. 6 figures. That boy knows how to work." Raphael pushed his eggs around his plate. "That's great for him. You know," Miguel continued, holding his newspaper with deliberate precision. "Ramirez's son just got promoted at the bank. 26 years old and already a senior analyst. These kids today, they understand what real work means." Elena shot her husband a warning glance. Miguel ... What? I'm just saying. Daniel's out there making connections, building a career. And Raphael, he gestured vaguely at his younger son, still playing with computers in his room like he's 15. "I'm building a company, Dad," Raphael said quietly. Miguel snorted. "A company? You and what employees? What office? What clients? A company needs more than a laptop and wishful thinking, Mio." The words stung more than Raphael cared to admit. He excused himself from the table, his breakfast largely untouched. Back in his room, Raphael opened his laptop to find an email that made his heart skip. Subject line: Cloud Sync Solutions, investment interest. His hands trembled slightly as he clicked it open. "Dear Mr. Martinez, after reviewing your pitch deck and prototype, Apex Ventures would like to schedule a meeting to discuss potential investment opportunities. We believe Cloud Sync has significant market potential. Raphael read it 3 times before it sank in. This was it. This was the break he'd been waiting for. But, as he looked around his childhood bedroom, the faded soccer trophies that belonged to Daniel, the family photos where he always seemed to be slightly out of focus, he knew that until he proved himself in his father's eyes, no amount of success would feel complete. Through his window, he watched his father's Ford pickup pull out of the driveway, heading to his job at the construction company where he'd worked for 30 years. Real work, as he called it. Honest work. Raphael turned back to his laptop. He had a presentation to prepare, a company to save, and somehow, a father to convince that there was more than one way to build something meaningful. The rain had stopped, but the clouds remained, heavy and gray over the Chicago suburbs. Change was coming. Raphael could feel it. He just hoped his family would still be there when it arrived. Chapter 2. The grind. 6 weeks later, Raphael sat in a gleaming conference room on the 40th floor of the Apex Ventures building in downtown Chicago. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sprawled beneath him, a concrete testament to ambition and possibility. "So, walk us through your user acquisition strategy," said James Chen, the lead partner, his expression unreadable behind designer glasses. Raphael clicked to the next slide, his mouth dry despite the bottle of water they provided. He'd practiced this presentation 100 times in his bedroom mirror. But here, under the fluorescent lights and scrutiny of 3 venture capitalists, Every word felt inadequate. We're implementing a B2B2C model, targeting small to medium businesses first, then expanding to enterprise clients. Our beta users have shown a 67% increase in cloud storage efficiency. Double quotes as he spoke. He thought of Daniel's last visit home. His brother had regaled the family with stories of client dinners, golf outings, the art of the handshake deal. Their father had hung on every word, occasionally glancing at Raphael with that look, the one that said, "Why can't you be more like him, Mr. Martinez?" Chen's voice pulled him back. The retention rates. Right. Sorry. Raphael clicked forward. Our month-over-month retention is currently at 89%. With double quotes, the meeting stretched on for 2 hours. When it finally ended, Raphael's shirt was soaked with sweat beneath his borrowed suit jacket. Daniel's, actually, from his college graduation. "We'll be in touch," Chen said, offering a firm handshake. The words every entrepreneur dreaded. The polite kiss of death. Raphael took the L train home, watching the city blur past. His phone buzzed with texts from his mother asking how it went, but he couldn't bring himself to respond. Not yet. The house was quiet when he arrived. He found his mother in the kitchen, preparing dinner. "How did it go, Mio?" Elena asked, not turning from the stove. "Fine," Raphael lied. "They said they'll be in touch." She turned then, studying his face with that maternal intuition that saw through every facade. "They'll see what you're worth. Just give it time." Time, Raphael repeated. Right. His father arrived home an hour later, construction dust still clinging to his work boots. He grunted a greeting and headed straight for his recliner. Turning on the evening news. "Miguel," Elena called, "ask your son about his meeting today." Meeting. Miguel didn't look away from the TV. "What meeting?" "With the investors," Raphael said from the doorway. "For my company." "Ah," a pause. "How much are they paying you?" "It doesn't work like that, Dad. They invest in the company. And so nothing." Miguel shook his head. "Daniel made $15,000 in commissions last month." $15,000, cash in hand. That's real money. Raphael retreated to his room, but sleep wouldn't come. He refreshed his email obsessively, checked his phone for missed calls, analyzed every moment of the presentation for signs of interest or dismissal. At 11:47 p.m., his laptop chimed. New email. From james.chen@apexventures.com. Subject, Re. Cloud Sync Solutions follow-up. Raphael's heart hammered as he opened it. "Raphael, after extensive discussion, we'd like to move forward with due diligence. We're prepared to offer $2.5 million for a 20% equity stake, with an option for Series B pending performance metrics. Let's schedule a call tomorrow to discuss terms." Best, James Chen. Raphael read it 5 times before it sank in. $2.5 million. That would value his company at $12.5 million. He wanted to run downstairs, to shake his father awake and show him the email. But he didn't. Instead, he sat in the darkness of his childhood bedroom, laptop screen casting blue shadows on the walls, and began drafting his response. The next morning, he joined his family for breakfast as usual. His father complained about material costs, his mother fussed over everyone's plates, and Raphael said nothing about the email, about the valuation, about the fact that his computer thing was now worth more than his father would earn in a lifetime. "You're quiet today," Elena observed. "Just tired," Raphael said, catching his father's eye. "Was up late working. You know, on my computer thing." Miguel grunted and returned to his newspaper. But Raphael thought he saw something flicker across his father's face, a question, maybe, or the first crack in a certainty that had defined their relationship for years. 3 days later, the contracts were signed. Cloud Sync Solutions was officially valued at $12.5 million, with room to grow. Raphael Martinez, age 24, was now a millionaire on paper, and still, he told no one. Chapter 3. The distance. The Chicago winter arrived early that year, blanketing the Martinez home in a layer of pristine snow that muffled the sounds of the suburban street. Inside, the house buzzed with preparation for Miguel's 55th birthday party, a tradition that brought together cousins, aunts, uncles, and family friends from across the Midwest. Raphael stood at his bedroom window, phone pressed to his ear, watching his mother and aunts unload groceries from the car. "We need you in San Francisco next week," James Chen's voice crackled through the speaker. "The integration team wants to run through the architecture before we announce." "Next week." Raphael glanced at his calendar. "I can fly out Tuesday." "Perfect. Rachel will send you the details." "Oh, and Raphael, you might want to start thinking about relocating. Most of our portfolio companies find it easier to operate from the Bay Area." After hanging up, Raphael remained at the window. 6 months had passed since the investment, and CloudSync had grown faster than even his most optimistic projections. 40 employees now, with offices in Chicago and Austin. His bank account held more money than he knew what to do with, yet he still lived in his childhood bedroom, still endured the weekly family dinners where his father praised Daniel's latest sales achievements while barely acknowledging Raphael's presence. "Raphael," his mother called from downstairs. "Come help with the decorations." The living room had been transformed into party central. Streamers hung from the ceiling, and the dining table had been extended with both leaves to accommodate the feast Elena had planned. Daniel had arrived early, looking every inch the successful salesman in his tailored suit and Italian leather shoes. "Baby brother," Daniel clapped him on the shoulder. "How's the startup life treating you?" "Good," Raphael replied simply. "Busy, I bet. Hey, I've been meaning to ask, you still looking for sales help? I know a guy who might be interested." Raphael bit back the irony. His brother had no idea that CloudSync's sales team now included the former Microsoft executives and AVP poached from Salesforce. "I'll let you know," he said instead. The guests began arriving as the sun set, filling the house with laughter and rapid-fire Spanish. Raphael found himself cornered by his uncle Carlos, who spent 20 minutes explaining why tech companies were just bubbles waiting to burst. "You need something solid," Carlos insisted, whisking from his beer. "Construction? Manufacturing? Things you can touch. This internet money, it's all smoke." Across the room, Raphael caught sight of his father holding court with his work buddies, no doubt regaling them with stories from the job site. Miguel had always been the center of attention at these gatherings, the patriarch whose word carried weight, whose approval everyone sought. "There's my genius son." Miguel's voice boomed suddenly, and for a moment, Raphael's heart leapt. But his father was looking at Daniel, pulling him into the circle. "Tell them about the Henderson account." Raphael slipped out onto the back porch, where the cold air bit at his cheeks. He pulled out his phone and scrolled through his emails. 12 new messages about the San Francisco trip. 3 from journalists wanting to profile CloudSync. 1 from a competitor offering to buy them out for $50 million. $50 million, the number should have thrilled him. Instead, he felt hollow, hiding out here. Raphael turned to find his cousin Maria, Daniel's age, nursing a glass of wine. "Just needed some air," he said. "I get it. These things can be overwhelming." She paused. "I heard about your company. By the way, my friend works at TechCrunch. Says you guys are the next big thing. You heard about it." "Are you kidding, Raphael? Half of Chicago Tech knows who you are. The only people who don't seem to know are ... She gestured toward the house. "Yeah," Raphael said quietly. "I know. Why haven't you told them?" It was a question he'd asked himself 1,000 times. Pride, spite, fear that even $50 million wouldn't be enough to earn his father's respect. "It's complicated," he said finally. Maria studied him. "You know what I think? I think you're waiting for the perfect moment. The moment where the number is so big, the success so undeniable, that even your dad will have to admit he was wrong. Maybe. But here's the thing, Primo, that moment might never come. Not because you won't succeed, but because some people only see what they want to see." Before Raphael could respond, the porch door burst open. "There you are." Elena appeared, shivering in her party dress. "We're about to serve dinner. Your father specifically asked where you were." "He did." "Well," he said, "where's the other one?" But I knew what he meant. She smiled sadly. "Come inside." "Mio, it's cold out here." As Raphael followed his mother back into the warmth and chaos of the party, he made a decision. He wouldn't wait for the perfect moment anymore. He wouldn't wait for his father to ask the right questions or show the right interest. At dinner, when Miguel inevitably brought up Daniel's achievements, when the comparison inevitably came, Rafael would simply show them the truth. No dramatics, no speeches, just the simple, undeniable reality of what he'd built while they weren't looking. His phone buzzed with another email. The subject line made him pause. Acquisition offer. Confidential. He opened it as he took his seat at the dinner table. Google wanted to buy Cloud Sync Solutions. The initial offer, $180 million. Rafael set his phone face down on the table and picked up his fork. His father was already 3 drinks in, face flushed with alcohol and good cheer. Daniel sat at his right hand, the golden sun in his appointed place. Before we eat, Miguel announced, raising his beer, I want to make a toast to family, to hard work, and to my son Daniel, who just got promoted to regional sales director. The table erupted in applause. Rafael clapped along, his phone burning like a coal against the tablecloth. And Rafael, Miguel continued, almost as an afterthought, who's still doing his thing. A few polite claps, some sympathetic glances. Rafael smiled and raised his water glass. To family, he echoed. The dinner proceeded as these dinners always did. Stories were shared, jokes were told, and gradually, inevitably, the conversation turned to careers, success, and the proper way to build a life. You know what your problem is, Rafael, Miguel said, pointing with his fork. You don't live in the real world. Daniel here. He understands. You want something. You go out and take it. You work for it, with your hands, with your sweat, not hiding behind a screen. I work, Dad, Rafael said evenly. Just differently than you. Work. Miguel laughed. What do you produce? What do you build? Can you hold it? Can you point to it and say, I made that? The table had gone quiet. Even Daniel looked uncomfortable. Miguel, Elena warned. No, let me finish. Miguel was on a roll now. I've been in construction for 30 years. 30 years. I've built homes, offices, schools, things that matter, things that last. And Daniel, he builds relationships, builds accounts. But you, he shook his head. You build what? Apps, clouds. It's not real, Mio. It's not substantial. You're right, Rafael said quietly. I don't build things you can touch, exactly. Finally, you admit it. But I do build things that matter. Rafael pulled out his phone. And they do have substance. Just a different kind. Rafael, Elena pleaded. Not now. But Rafael was already connecting his phone to the smart TV his parents had bought last Christmas, the one he'd set up for them. Naturally, what are you doing? Miguel demanded. You asked what I build, Rafael said calmly. So, I'm going to show you. The screen flickered to life. A simple slide appeared, Cloud Sync Solutions, and below it, a number. Current valuation, $180 million. The room went absolutely silent. Chapter 4. The recognition, the silence stretched like an eternity. Forks suspended midway to mouths. Conversations cut off mid-syllable. Every eye in the room fixed on the number displayed on the television screen. $180 million. Rafael's Uncle Carlos was the first to break the spell, letting out a low whistle. That's millions. 180 million, Rafael confirmed quietly. Google's acquisition offer came in 3 hours ago. The room erupted. Questions flew from every direction. How? When? Why didn't you tell us? But Rafael kept his eyes on his father. Miguel sat frozen, his face cycling through expressions like a broken television. Confusion, disbelief, something that might have been shame. That's impossible, Daniel said, though his voice lacked conviction. You're 24 years old. 25 next month, Rafael corrected. And it's not impossible. It's what Cloud Sync is worth. What I built is worth. But how? Elena's hand covered her mouth. When did this happen? I incorporated 3 years ago. Got our first investment 6 months ago. We have 42 employees now, offices in 3 cities, and over 2,000 enterprise clients. Rafael kept his voice steady, factual. I didn't build it with my hands, Dad, but I built it. Miguel's mouth opened and closed several times before he managed. Why didn't you say anything? For the first time, Raphael allowed emotion to creep into his voice. Would you have listened? Every time I tried to talk about my company, you called it playing with computers. Every family dinner, you compared me to Daniel, asked why I couldn't be more like him. So I stopped trying to explain. I just kept building. Raphael, Daniel started, but Raphael wasn't finished. I'm not angry, he said, looking around the table at his extended family. I understand. What I do doesn't look like work to you. There's no cement to pour, no deals to close with a handshake. It's code and servers and algorithms. But it's real. It helps real businesses store and manage their data more efficiently. It saves them money, time, resources. He clicked to the next slide, showing Cloud Sync's growth trajectory. We started with just me and 2 friends from college. Now we have engineers from MIT, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon. We have salespeople from Oracle, IBM, Microsoft, and yes, Daniel. Some of them probably make more than you do. Show off, someone muttered, but Maria shot them a glare. I'm not showing off, Raphael said. I'm showing up, finally, because I realized something tonight. I've been waiting for permission to be proud of what I built, waiting for approval that was never going to come because you couldn't see it. But I don't need permission anymore. Miguel stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. For a moment, Raphael thought he might storm out. Instead, he walked slowly to the TV, staring at the number as if it might disappear. 180 million, he repeated. American dollars. Yes, Dad, for computers, for a cloud storage solution that revolutionizes how small businesses handle their data infrastructure, Raphael said. But, yes, essentially for computers. Miguel turned to face his son. And you you own this. 60%. After dilution, my co-founders and I maintain majority control. The math was evident on everyone's faces. 60% of $180 million was more money than anyone in the room could truly comprehend. I don't understand, Miguel said, and for the first time in Raphael's memory, his father looked small, lost. How did I not know my own son was this? Elena stood and placed a hand on her husband's arm. Because you weren't looking, me Amor. We saw what we expected to see, but I wanted Miguel's voice cracked. I wanted you to have stability, security, a real career. I know, Raphael said softly, and in your own way, you pushed me to achieve that. Every time you compared me to Daniel, every time you doubted me, it made me work harder, not to spite you, but to prove to myself that there was value in what I was doing. Daniel cleared his throat. Are you going to take the offer? Raphael shrugged. I don't know yet. My investors think we can hit $1 billion valuation in 2 years if we stay independent. Billion. Joe Carlos choked on his beer. With a B. The enterprise cloud storage market is projected to reach $137 billion by 2025, Raphael said. We have a shot at capturing a significant percentage of that, Mio. Miguel said slowly. I owe you an apology. The room held its breath. No, Dad. Raphael interrupted. You don't. You raised me to work hard, to never give up, to build something meaningful. I just did it in a different way than you expected. That doesn't make either of us wrong, but I should have seen, should have supported double quotes. You supported me the best way you knew how. You gave me a home, food, education. You showed me what dedication looks like, getting up every morning for 30 years to provide for us. I learned persistence from watching you. Miguel's eyes glistened. Your mother's right. I wasn't looking. I was so busy seeing what I wanted you to be that I missed who you were becoming. Regional sales director is still impressive, Raphael said, turning to Daniel with a small smile. Congratulations. By the way, Daniel laughed, tension breaking. Thanks, though I'm thinking maybe I should apply to Cloud Sync. You hiring? The room relaxed into nervous laughter. Questions came again, but gentler now, genuinely curious rather than skeptical. Raphael found himself explaining cloud architecture to his aunts, discussing market trends with his uncles, showing his younger cousins the app interface. So, what happens now? Elena asked during a quiet moment. Now, Raphael considered. Now I fly to San Francisco next week. We'll probably need to relocate headquarters there eventually. The tech ecosystem is stronger, better access to talent and capital. You're leaving. Miguel's voice was small. Not leaving, Rafael corrected. Growing. But Chicago will always be home. This will always be home. As the evening wound down and guests began to leave, each offering congratulations and barely veiled requests for investment advice, Rafael found himself alone with his father on the back porch. The same porch where hours earlier he'd stood contemplating this moment. "I'm proud of you," Miguel said quietly. "I know I never said it, never showed it, but I am. You took a different path, and it scared me. I didn't understand it, but you made something from nothing. That's what America about, isn't it? You made something too, Dad. You built a life, a family. You built the foundation that let me take risks. I could chase this dream because I knew I had somewhere safe to fall." Miguel pulled his son into a hug, the first real embrace they'd shared in years. "My son, the millionaire," he whispered. "Who would have thought?" "Not millionaire," Rafael corrected with a grin. "Multi-millionaire." Miguel laughed, deep and genuine. "I'm never going to understand what you do. Am I? Probably not, but that's okay. You don't have to understand it to be proud of it." They stood together, watching the snow fall on the suburban street where Rafael had grown up, where he'd learned to ride a bike, to throw a football badly, to dream of something bigger than the life mapped out for him. "Will you at least try to explain it to me?" Miguel asked. "This cloud thing." "Sure, Dad, we can start tomorrow. But fair warning, it involves a lot of computer talk." "I'll try to stay awake," Miguel promised. As they headed back inside, Rafael's phone buzzed with another email. James Chen, checking in about the Google offer. 3 months ago, Rafael would have immediately responded, anxious to prove his dedication. Tonight, he silenced his phone and rejoined his family. The dishes needed washing. Leftover food needed wrapping. His mother needed help cleaning up after the party. Normal, mundane tasks that had nothing to do with valuations or acquisitions or the future of cloud computing. "Hey, Rafael," Daniel called from the kitchen. "Since you're rich now, you're buying the beer next time, right?" "I'll buy the whole bar," Rafael shot back. "Don't encourage him," Elena scolded, but she was smiling. As Rafael dried dishes beside his mother, Miguel and Daniel arguing about football in the living room, he realized something profound. The validation he'd sought, the recognition he'd craved, it had been the wrong goal all along. What mattered wasn't the number on the screen, or his father's approval, or proving anyone wrong. What mattered was this: being present, being seen, being part of something larger than any company he could build. CloudSync would sell, or it wouldn't. It would reach $1 billion valuation, or it would crash and burn. But his family, complicated, frustrating, loving, would remain. "Thank you," Elena said quietly, handing him another plate. "For what?" "For coming back to us. For a while there, I thought we'd lost you to those screens and servers." "Never," Rafael promised. "You're stuck with me, even if I do move to San Francisco." "Good. Someone needs to teach your father how to use FaceTime." They laughed, and in that moment, in his childhood kitchen with soap suds on his hands and his mother by his side, Rafael Martinez, a founder, CEO, multimillionaire, felt truly successful for the first time. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, Rafael sat in his room one last time. Tomorrow, everything would change. The news would leak. Reporters would call. The tech world would dissect every aspect of CloudSync's journey. But tonight, he was just Rafael, the kid who'd built something impossible in his bedroom while his family slept, who'd proved that there was more than one way to construct a life worth living. He opened his laptop and began typing a response to James Chen. "Thank you for checking in. After careful consideration with my advisors, I've decided to decline Google's offer. CloudSync will remain independent as we pursue our Series B funding. Also, I'll be working from Chicago for at least the next 6 months. Family considerations. Let's discuss the expansion timeline when I'm in SF next week. Best, Rafael Martinez, founder and CEO, CloudSync Solutions PS. My father wants to understand what cloud storage is. Any book recommendations for complete beginners? He hit send, closed his laptop, and for the first time in 3 years, fell asleep without checking his phone for overnight emergencies. In the morning, there would be new challenges, new mountains to climb. But tonight, Rafael Martinez was exactly where he needed to be, home.